homage to Buddha Shakyamuni, homage to wisdom warrior Manjushri, homage to all lineage masters. The Dharma, profound and subtle, seldom met in countless ages, now heard and practiced. May we realize the Tathagata's truth. For all beings' liberation, generate bodhicitta. Next, I will explain the Song of Victory. The first part, encouragement to study the secret Dharma, has been completed. The second part, encouragement to give rise to bodhicitta, is divided into two aspects, reasons and benefits of bodhicitta. Reasons for bodhicitta explained. Next, its merits. This blocks doors to lower realms and brings happiness in higher realms. Progressing toward a state of ultimate liberation, do not practice this essential point with a distracted mind. The previously mentioned unsurpassed aspirational and engaged bodhicitta, its merits are truly immeasurable and boundless. This principle is explained in great detail in the Compendium of Trainings, the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, as well as in relevant Mahayana scriptures. Therefore, I will not elaborate further here. In summary, the merits of bodhicitta can be demonstrated from several perspectives. It can be said that if genuine, uncontrived bodhicitta arises in our continuum, from that moment on, all the negativities in one's continuum will be absolutely and completely purified. Roots of virtue and merits will increase. In this way, bodhicitta has already completely blocked the path to the lower realms, hell, hungry ghost, and animal realms closed. Bodhicitta is like the fire of apocalypse, which can destroy all sins. Bodhicitta is just like the fire at the end of an eon. If in a single instant bodhicitta arises within our continuum, then even gravest offenses, like 5 inexpiable crimes, or slandering the Dharma, those particularly difficult to purify negative karmas, will be purified. If negative karma is purified, one won't fall to lower realm. As the Guru said before in a teaching, bodhicitta prevents lower realms. Therefore, many of you should, before you die, try all means to arouse bodhicitta in yourself. Once it has arisen, do not let it deteriorate carefully. In this way, you will not fall into lower realms. This is the first benefit. The second benefit is that if you have bodhicitta, your virtuous roots and various positive qualities will continually increase. Death, you won't fall to lower realm, but you will also temporarily be reborn in the excellent heavenly realms, or in a noble human family, blessed with great fortune. You will enjoy all the happiness of the higher realms. This is simply a temporary kind of happiness, because every joy of sentient beings, in fact, is attained through relying on bodhicitta. As Shantideva said, precious bodhicitta is the cause of sentient beings' happiness. The precious bodhicitta is the cause for all sentient beings to attain happiness. This is a temporary benefit. So what is the ultimate benefit? It is to ultimately perfect the 5 paths and 10 bhumi, and finally attain the state of complete and perfect enlightenment. All the 3 evil realms and the troubles and obstacles of samsara are all eliminated. Liberation has already been attained. Therefore, bodhicitta truly brings immense and profound benefit to sentient beings. After contemplating for countless eons, the Buddha saw this awakened mind brings the greatest benefit. Countless sentient beings relying on this are able to effortlessly attain the supreme happiness. Buddha contemplated lifetimes, eons, wondering what would be of the greatest benefit to all sentient beings. Is it having enough, or having good clothes, or having physical and mental health? When the Buddha contemplated this repeatedly with his transcendent, unobstructed wisdom, he discovered that bodhicitta greatly benefits sentient beings, like inventors today. After focused research, they invent something, and ultimately they feel that it truly benefits humanity. In the same way, over such a long period of time, Buddha found bodhicitta benefits sentient beings. Therefore, with bodhicitta, countless beings have attained the unsurpassed, supreme state of perfect Buddhahood. His Holiness says, do not be distracted. As we practice the path to enlightenment, we must absolutely not let our minds be swayed or confused by the 8 worldly concerns or external distractions. We must not lose our direction like that. Never let this happen. We must earnestly and sincerely practice the key points of bodhicitta. The secret or essential aspects of bodhicitta are extremely important in all forms of practice and are also most precious method. Regarding this matter, I think everyone present here, those who have listened to Bodhicharyavatara, know bodhicitta. As for myself, I am truly very happy about this. Nowadays, no matter which city I go to, everyone feels that bodhicitta is indeed very important. Some people, due to their own afflictions, work, or other reasons, have not practiced it well, while others have practiced it quite well. Life is very short, so I sincerely hope you won't try to reach for the highest teachings right away. You should first complete the basic preliminary practices within your mind stream. At the same time, cultivate bodhicitta, the wish to benefit all beings. Every day you should contemplate it and think about it at every moment. In this way, it will bring great benefit to both this life and future lives. The above is what I wanted to say about the second point. Arousing bodhicitta. The third point is about sending out centrifugal force. Sending out centrifugal force also has 2 aspects. We discussed merits of upholding vows and faults of breaking them. Precepts are the foundation. These are the 2 points. Do not envy or long for samsara. One should uphold pure vows honored by all. For those who wish to be free from samsara and seek liberation toward all the things in worldly samsara, whether it be fame, status, or certain forms of power, as well as all kinds of worldly pleasures and exceptional things, one should not give rise to even the slightest feeling of envy, longing, or desire. When you see someone wealthy, you do not envy them. When you see especially luxurious cars or beautiful houses or an object others are envious of, when these things appear before your eyes, you regard them as dreamlike illusions or feel they are like bubbles in water, insignificant. This is not just something you say. In your actual actions or in your heart, because samsara is like a house on fire. Not for a single instant do you give rise to genuine envy toward them. You have truly developed a sense of renunciation. In the beginning, of course, it is just like Venerable Nanda. Have no greed or cling to 3 realms. It is very difficult to do. However, on one hand, we first study and practice through theory. By familiarizing over time, we see no security in 3 realms. Samsara. Eventually, a sense of renunciation or even world weariness will arise. The best way to practice this really is to contemplate human life's rarity, impermanence, samsara's faults, karma's infallibility and results. After you have completed these 4 common preliminary practices, a sense of renunciation will also arise within your own mind stream. After practice, you won't envy pleasures. As Master Tsongkhapa says in the 3 principal aspects of the path, day and night you seek the path to liberation. Renunciation has arisen. So when does renunciation arise? If we have completed the 4 preliminary practices, then regarding all the glory, wealth, and prosperity of samsara, not even for the briefest possible instant, at any point in time, will you feel envy or longing. Day and night, the only thing in your heart is the wish to attain liberation. Locked in prison, wanting to be freed. At this point, renunciation will arise in your mind stream. Of course, from one perspective, this is quite a strict requirement. Not giving rise to a moment of longing is difficult, especially for ordinary people. When they're in class or in the classroom, many truly feel that all matters of samsara, especially if there is a guru or books, explains things in a way. Trivial affairs are meaningless In mainstream, renunciation can arise. But wait a minute before you go out and encounter some pleasant sights along the way, that sense of renunciation completely vanishes. At that moment, a sense of envy arises. For ordinary people, this is very likely to happen. But we need to understand that true practitioners seeking liberation, blessings, fame, or status, see through their true nature. At that point, you become a genuine practitioner. Of course, in theory, I think everyone here should understand this fairly well. On the basis of this mindset, you should also consistently uphold it. Of all the offerings that humans and celestial beings can make, the true adornment of the entire world is pure discipline. We must uphold such pure precepts because precepts can be said to be the foundation of all virtues. Precepts are like a bridge for crossing over to a better realm. The Pratimoksha Sutra states, precepts are the path to a good rebirth. To reach a good rebirth, one must rely on precepts. They are like a bridge to cross a great river. The Pratimoksha Sutra explains this very clearly. Therefore, above all else, it is important to remember that gold, silver, gems, rings, etc. These ornaments are not truly magnificent. If a person truly possesses pure precepts, this is something that humans and celestial beings can truly make offerings to. Humans and celestial beings alike can all pay homage and sincerely worship such a person. Therefore, upholding such pure precepts is extremely important. Of course, every sentient being has a different capacity. If your renunciation is strong, ordain bhikshu, bhikshuni, or samanera precepts. If the conditions for this have not yet matured, you should at least uphold the lay precepts or the refuge precepts with a mind of renunciation. This is very important for everyone. If in this life you do not possess a precept body, it is very difficult for any merit to arise. There is no foundation. Precepts are like the earth that supports all movement and stillness. They are the foundation of all merit. This is also clearly stated, as mentioned earlier, in the letter to a friend. Precepts are the basis for all actions, moving and still like the earth. It is the root of all merits. So if you do not uphold even a single precept, you'll gain a body and be reborn well. This is extremely difficult for everyone, especially disciples who have taken refuge in the three jewels. It is very important to have some form of self-restraint through precepts. If you break the precepts and don't confess, the fault is grave. All higher states of meditative concentration and supreme bliss arise based on this foundation. If you break the precepts and fall into lower realms, don't be confused. Know what to accept and what to abandon. All the temporary human and heavenly blessings, all the higher rebirths and happiness of humans and gods, as well as the so-called liberation that is beyond this world, that is to say, the happiness of the Bodhisattva and Buddha states, indeed, all truly arise entirely as a direct and natural result of upholding the precepts vidavese. Without even a single aspect of the precepts, none of the virtues can arise. Therefore, if one happens to break the precepts, one will inevitably fall into the three lower realms, because after breaking the precepts, if one breaks root related precepts, and in this lifetime does not confess or purify sins, then the consequences are really extremely frightening. Related scriptures such as the Pratimoksha Sutra and others also state that for those who have broken the precepts, their destination can only be the hell, hungry ghost, or animal realms. They will definitely fall into the three lower realms. At that point, you can't even truly free or liberate yourself, let alone benefit sentient beings. It's truly a ridiculous thing. If you break the precepts and can't benefit yourself, how benefit others? The condensed Prajnaparamita says, for those who break the precepts, Even self-benefit is impossible for them. Yet they still wish to help others or save all sentient beings. This is truly laughable and absolutely impossible to achieve. In the age of the Dharma's decline, indeed, many people find it harder to uphold pure precepts, especially now in the information age and this era of commercialization. It is even more difficult, indeed extremely difficult for many monastics to maintain pure precepts. Personally, I have seen some cases. For example, in the county where I live, there is a monastery I know of. About 10 years ago, there were more than 300 monastics there. Now there are fewer than 200 left, basically. In these 10 years, the number hasn't increased. Instead, it has decreased. Many monastics are gone because outside there are all kinds of things such as television, computers, and mobile telephones. On top of that, the dazzling lights and various external attractions in the marketplace are constantly flashing and tempting in front of ordinary people. Because of this, it's no longer like the practitioners of ancient times. Those who have renunciation in their mind and practice the Dharma in a pure place, extremely few. This time in Beijing, I also met many abbots and great masters from monasteries. I'd ask, which monastery? And they'd say, a large one. How many monastics do you have? About 20 people, maybe a dozen or so at most, 30-something. Including in Han Chinese regions, it is very sad. To put it bluntly and to describe it objectively, in many places today, even though our Buddhist Institute has many monastics, it's hard to say what things will be like in the future. Some monastics ask, how many people are there in your monastery? Stats show over 6,000. Ah, are you sure you didn't miss out? They doubt a monastery has 60 people. I said, that's just the number of permanent residents, the ones they've registered. But the number of transient people might not be included. There are more of them. Many people really think that I'm just making up some kind of myth. I think this is because of the blessings of the Dharma King. People come every day. Someone wants a monk, another ordained. Many people seek to be monastic. But in other places, well, that's really not the case. In fact, many formerly renowned monasteries have now become grand and splendid halls. But aside from that, there's nothing inside. The other day, I've even met a rather famous monk. We talked for a long time, and I asked him how many people were at his monastery. At first, he talked a lot about how much money the monastery had spent and so on. I asked, how many people in your monastery? There are some lay practitioners at my monastery, but as for the monastics, it's just me and my disciple. I'm not saying Chinese Buddhism is not flourishing now. That's not what I mean. Tibetan Buddhism is in fact also facing this kind of crisis. Whether in the Lhasa area or here in the Han region, the number of monastics in many monasteries is in fact steadily decreasing. Many elderly bhikkhus and monks are passing away, leaving this world. Younger generation unwilling to become monastics, middle-aged people leaving monastic life. For monastics to uphold pure precepts, moving into degenerate age gets tough. Looking back over the past few decades, we can see that it is getting more and more challenging. Now, some lay practitioners appear who seem to renounce, though not sure it's genuine. But many people do have this aspiration. Since this is the case, everyone should still place importance on the precepts. Practice 3 refuges, 5 precepts. If they are broken, I hope that you will go before a teacher to receive them again. Because in this very life, having such precepts provides the foundation for all virtues. Without the earth, all plants and trees indeed cannot grow. All virtues rest on the precepts. Therefore, in this degenerate age, you must not become confused or lose your sense of direction or purpose. You must make detailed choices. Accept the favorable conditions that help you uphold the precepts when you should accept them. And always abandon the adverse conditions that lead to breaking the precepts when you should abandon them. You really should make efforts in this regard. This is about renunciation. It should be considered the third level of content. The fourth level discusses virtuous character, the character that His Holiness spoke of. First, it explains in essence what constitutes a virtuous character. It discusses the merits of virtue from two perspectives. Words and actions harmonious with friends, nature upright and kind. If you wish to benefit yourself in the long run, the key is to temporarily benefit others. Here it discusses what character is. Indeed, character is also very important. Vajrayana and Prajnaparamita both depend on bodhicitta. Bodhicitta's basis must be renunciation. Only good people give rise to renunciation. Can truly bad people develop renunciation? It's impossible. Bodhicitta without renunciation? Hardly. Lacking bodhicitta, renunciation, can one attain dzogchen, realization? Impossible. It's like if you haven't attended elementary school, you can't possibly reach the level of middle school. No middle school, no university, high school, college, nothing. Is it possible to have a doctoral degree? Probably not. And if you do, the certificate must be fake. Here, when he talks about character, the wish-fulfilling jewel is the Dharma King's wisdom. I believe no matter what you study, exoteric or esoteric Buddhism, in any form Dharma, character is without a doubt extremely important, truly essential. Because without this kind of character, simply transcendental Dharma is empty words. It's useless. It absolutely cannot be realized. That's why the highly esteemed and revered Mipham Rinpoche also said in the well-known treatise on the two codes of conduct, worldly conduct is the root of Dharma. Without noble worldly behavior, one can never truly possess the supreme discipline of the Dharma. There is such a scriptural reference, which means that worldly conduct, virtuous character, is foundation of Dharma. If a person does not have noble conduct or noble character, then the exceptional, profound, and time-honored rules, realizations, and teachings of Buddhism, there's simply no way for him to talk about it at all. It is completely and absolutely impossible to achieve. So here it emphasizes that character is very important. Of course, personality, whether we have a good temper or not, in our daily lives, whether this person has a good personality, for example, or whether they are diligent or not. Everyone has many different and unique views, perspectives, or opinions, especially when it comes to judging a person's character. Some people think that attractive individuals have charismatic personalities. Some people are more soft-hearted and consider that to be a good character. Others believe that being strong-willed essentially means having a truly good and admirable character. However, the Dharma King did not say it this way. Here, when it comes to assessing and evaluating character, especially in this particular context, there are a few key points I hope everyone will remember. First, one's words and actions should be in harmony with friends. Speech and actions are consistent for everyone, no matter status. Whether they are friends or relatives in your life, they get along very harmoniously with everyone they encounter. It's not like when this particular person, shows up, everything immediately becomes chaotic. No matter which group they join in the end, eventually that group does not become disordered because of them. This won't happen. This person is always truly very kind and gets along well with everyone. From a worldly perspective, they show respect to those above, compassion to those below, and harmony with those at the same level. People like this are said to possess the first trait of good character. Those aspiring to cultivate a mindset pay close attention. In dealing with people, there will always be many different kinds and types of conflicts within any group. However, if a person is good-natured, their mind remains pure and clear. No matter what others say, they are able to go along with it in any situation at all times. Therefore, the Buddha also said in scriptures, I follow the world. Why does Buddha go along with worldly people? It is because as human beings, we must, in essence, adapt to the world. Of course, going along with others does not mean that you should indulge someone who is greedy or that you should follow someone who is angry and become angry yourself. That's just not what it means. It means in life, we should go along actions that are reasonable and following the Dharma. In daily life, getting along harmoniously with everyone you come into contact and interact with, this is the first aspect of character. You can't be the kind of person who truly feels the urge to go down just because everyone else is going up. There is a Tibetan metaphor that symbolizes a bad person. It says that when 100 yaks are going up, the Gaba yak insists on going down. This metaphor is actually, in fact, quite vivid because when almost everyone else is doing something, a person with poor character will say, no, I'm not going up, I want to go down. Generally, if someone is known to have a very bad or questionable character or reputation, for example, when they are traveling from Seda to Chengdu, they might end up arguing with several people in the car. It's exactly the same. For example, whenever you are sitting in a car, and it's also just the same whenever you are living in a house, no matter where they are, even when they try doing good, it's the same. So when a bad person leaves, everyone quite understandably feels relieved. It's as if a cataract has been removed from the eye. We can enjoy a good meal. That bad person is gone, how wonderful. Everyone feels at ease. But if a good person leaves, everyone might feel especially sad. Don't feel like eating lunch. Such a good person has left. Sigh, and everyone starts to feel sad. Truly, you can't always tell just by looking at someone on the surface, on their outward appearance. When I first meet someone, I always have this kind of judgment in my mind. Is this person good or bad? Just by looking, you can't tell. Sometimes someone's words and actions seem very decent, but after interacting with them, you end up very disappointed. You might wonder if this person is not so good. But the longer you become familiar with them over time, the better they turn out to be. This happens too. So having good character, this is the first point. The second is having an upright disposition. No matter where a person is, whether they are speaking or acting in any given place or situation, they are always fair-minded, not biased, not greedy for their own side, nor resentful toward others. They don't always put themselves at the center of everything, not necessarily all the time. They don't constantly make unfair judgments. Such a person is truly upright. They always steadfastly uphold what is right and never show favoritism to anyone. This is what it means to be upright. And being upright is very important. In the two codes of conduct teachings, many important merits of this are also thoroughly discussed. The third is having a kind heart. Even if a person is upright and accommodating to others, if their heart is malicious, then nothing about them is trustworthy. Nowadays, on the surface, some leaders and some scholars speak very eloquently, but deep down, they are always harboring selfishness and the intent to harm others. Then everything is ruined, because the heart is the root of all things. If the heart is kind, one's path is virtuous. If the heart is evil, one's path is wicked. Tsongkhapa taught, if your heart is good, your entire future will be bright. If your heart is malicious, then your future will be dark. Nothing will achieve genuine results. So having a kind heart is essential. These 3 points are extremely important and truly essential in being a person. Then it says, if you want to benefit yourself in the long run for your own well-being, then even if it is only for a short time, temporarily providing benefit to others is indeed very good. Per the Dharma King's meaning, as ordinary person, there may be certain individuals or people who simply don't consider themselves at all in any way, but some, wise thinking about themselves, end up not considering others and instead offend many people. Their own undertakings do not succeed. So it's best not to have such thoughts. Otherwise, it becomes cunning. Helping others solely for your own benefit is not very. But you could also say, to take a step back, if it really can't be helped, if you want to truly benefit yourself, it's best to treat others a bit better. At that time, others will acknowledge and praise you. And in the end, you will finally have your very own space to survive. I remember once, on a particular day, when I was taking a long flight on an airplane, there was a young man sitting next to me. He certainly seemed very talented, and he indeed had a good character. He was the general manager of a company, and he didn't believe in Buddhism. But when we talked, we still found some common ground. Later, after talking for a little while longer, just talking, he said, people should be truly good. And should help others whenever they can. Actually, if you genuinely want to become truly successful in a company, especially in today's modern workplace, in your career, you must truly and sincerely help those around you, offering support and kindness in order to have your own personal space to survive. Otherwise, if you only ever think about yourself and don't take other people into consideration in any way at all, the people all around you are all very smart. They really can sense it. In the end, you really won't be able to accomplish anything there either. I felt that what he said honestly made a considerable amount of sense to me. I told him that Buddhism also praises this kind of attitude. It's really like this. Some people, for example, originally want to rely on a spiritual teacher, someone trustworthy, or depend on worldly entrepreneur. But during this process, they're always thinking about themselves. In the end, others notice their words and actions and may not want them around. If, however, even though they want to stay here, they wholeheartedly help others at the same time, then others would genuinely appreciate them for who they truly are as individuals. So for many people in the world, it's true that if someone wants to gain some benefit for themselves, then temporarily helping others is also a very good trick. In the past, my teacher would joke about this, but based on his many years of life experience, many people don't know how to behave. They only ever think about themselves very clearly, and absolutely nothing else matters to them. And every day, they selfishly express their own personal opinions, really, their very own opinions, not a good thing. Nowadays, some young people in society, for example, if a girl likes someone, she keeps him tightly bound to her, trying her best to possess him. In the end, it just won't succeed. But if she wholeheartedly wants to help, the other person is human too, and all favorable conditions will be created for her. So many people in the world don't understand this principle. Especially when studying and practicing Buddhism, character is indeed very important. Even if you genuinely lack character, then no matter how profound or mysterious your insights and realizations are, when it comes down to it, you probably won't succeed either. The kind of character, as previously discussed, mentioned above, is something that everyone should always remember because there are so many aspects to being good. But if you can't be a good person, it's impossible to become a Buddha. So first, be a good person. You can really put in some genuine effort into just these few important points. If you want to gain a deeper understanding more broadly about this topic, for example, we can consider the spiritual text known as the Nectar of Instruction, which His Holiness talks about qualities like magnanimity and being well learned. From this perspective, there are also explanations about the requirements for character. This is pure code of conduct for humans and the skillful means of all Buddhas of the three times. It is also the essence of the four means of attraction. So all disciples must not forget this. Such virtuous codes of conduct are actually extremely rare and precious. These are the fundamental basic principles of being a person, principles that truly matter. In the past, when Buddhism flourished in Tibet, King Songtsen Gampo also established the 16 human codes in Tibet. Many of them are about how to be a good person. For example, respecting the three jewels, practicing the true Dharma, as well as being filial to one's parents, having upright character, and being broad-minded, among others. There are many practices for cultivating character, and you could say that these are the necessary requirements. Therefore, these are worldly codes and also Buddhist codes. They are the skillful means of all Buddhas of the three times. Among all Buddhas of the three times, no matter which Buddha it is, when they lived as humans, they certainly acted as good people. It is impossible for a bad person to become a Buddha. A Bodhisattva can't be reached. Bodhisattva, Arhat, unattainable, not to mention an Arhat generally. Even the slightest realization of the Dharma can only be found in good people. We can also see this in daily life. Accomplished eminent monks and great masters, not to mention their transcendental attainments, even just their personal charisma is honestly very captivating, truly captivating. In my own life, I have also relied on many virtuous teachers. Truly, their words and actions, in every possible sense, far surpass what we can imagine. Many ordinary people, whether in their speech or their discriminating thoughts, have little in their words and actions that is worth emulating. But these eminent monks and great masters, based on their personal charisma, manifest many unique transcendental states. That is why the sixth patriarch Huineng also said, in his own words, Buddha Dharma is not separate from worldly Dharma. The reason should basically be like this. If even the basic rules and regulations of the world are abandoned, then there would be no way to even speak of achieving realization in Buddhism. Exceptional codes of conduct are the skillful means of all Buddhas of the three times. Whether benefiting sentient beings or in their own methods of attainment, a virtuous and noble character is always indispensable. It is also undoubtedly the fundamental essence of the four cameras, without a doubt, especially among the 6 degrees and the four cameras. How is it the essence of the four means of embracing? Generosity, kindness, helpfulness, and cooperation. These are 4 major actions through which bodhisattvas benefit sentient beings. All of these require personal charisma and true integrity to be carried out. For example, if you possess good character, such as integrity, honesty, and responsibility, you are willing to practice generosity. You are willing to give others. You are able to express loving words that embrace sentient beings. You can do things that benefit sentient beings, assisting and helping them, caring for them in various ways. At the same time, your own words and actions serve as a model for others. In this way, it is actually, in fact, the very essence of the four means of embracing. Therefore, at the end, the Dharma King emphasizes to all disciples who have faith in me, whether they are current or future disciples, never ever forget to be a good person. If you can't even manage to be a good person, then there is really no way to talk about any other levels of spiritual practice. Therefore, all the states that have been previously mentioned above are in essence like a tree. If there are no roots, the trunk cannot exist. If there is no trunk, then its branches, leaves, and fruits, these things cannot possibly appear. In the same way, one should first aspire to be a good person. Today, everyone should think in your hearts, at the very least, from now on, I will go along with others. Don't simply get into arguments with this person today and fight with that person tomorrow. Even if you don't have the courage or the strength to fight, you still constantly slander and criticize others every day. If you can't get along with anyone, that's not acceptable either. Having malicious thoughts in your heart, feeling hatred toward this person today and making malicious wishes against that person tomorrow, these kinds of malicious thoughts must also indeed be cut off. At the same time, you should be truly upstanding and upright and not be a cunning person. People in the world today are truly very cunning. Sometimes, when I look at the leaders on stage, they are also very cunning. It's very, very, really beautiful. But once they step down, none of it is actually like that at all in reality. So nowadays, there really are too many cunning people in the world. You should strive to be upright and someone who works quietly without seeking attention. Even if you have fame and status, it doesn't matter. You must be fair and just. If you become a just person, then whether others misunderstand you or slander you, or even do anything wrong to you, so please rest assured, none of it will cause you any harm at all, in any way whatsoever, I promise. Because you will always shine so gently and beautifully with the genuine, warm and kind light of pure, radiant, everlasting gold. And in this process, no matter what kind of darkness or other adverse conditions arise, they cannot cover you. Before anything else, we must make a vow to be a good person. In the past, when many Kadampageshis were about to accept disciples, they would first see whether this person was truly bad. If the person was bad, they would not accept them or teach them the Dharma. If the person was good, even if they were foolish, the Geshe believed they could be taught. Being foolish doesn't matter as long as a person is good. But being a good person is not like what was just mentioned. It's not about being attractive or a pleasant voice or having a heavy presence, being a genuinely good person. It's not about being imposing in any way. It's not like that. A truly good person is kind at heart. And this is indeed very, very important. No matter what kind of intention you have, your heart must be kind. If your heart is not kind, then you have lost your foundation as a person. So we must always strive to be kind, compassionate, and good people. After becoming a good person, then you can truly talk about the Dharma. Therefore, as Buddhists, we must never let there be scheming and infighting between various different groups all across the board. There are constant disputes and disagreements between people every day. If we act like this, non-Buddhists will mock us. They will say, look at Buddhist groups full of disputes and controversies. Every day people say one thing and mean another, behaving so poorly and making things so complicated. When people see this, they won't develop any faith. But if the monastic community lives in harmony, where members support each other and work together with understanding and respect, then everything within the community, then everyone will develop faith as well. Once Chichen Ruoju and I met a very famous PhD holder from Tibet. He was very envious of our institute. He said, your institute's many people is one of its features, and the purity of your discipline is another feature. But what he found the most remarkable was that with so many people, there were quite incredibly, truly no disagreements or fights among us at all. At his workplace, there are a dozen people. Even among a few people, their relationships are not good. So he found this to be an extremely rare. This is also thanks to the Dharma King, the wish-fulfilling Jew. With so many monastics, from a small perspective, maybe among people, there are some contradictions, which is inevitable. As ordinary people along us, even among the monks and nuns around the Buddha, there were such situations in the Sangha. Even during the process of studying the Vinaya, there was complexity back then as well. This is nothing unusual. But overall, I would say, we are still very harmonious. Therefore, we hope that whether one studies the exoteric or esoteric teachings, all four types of Buddhist disciples, lay people, monastics, and others who study the Dharma, Buddhists, non-Buddhists, others, should all foster an atmosphere of harmony, love, and unity. This is truly very important. And in fact, it is also indeed a remarkable and clear sign of noble and admirable character, without a doubt. The Dharma King has spoken about this above, so please never forget what was mentioned earlier, as it is important and should always be kept in mind. The prajna wisdom of both exoteric and esoteric Buddhism is based on bodhicitta. Bodhicitta relies on renunciation, and renunciation relies on noble character. So in fact, all of these important teachings and lessons can actually be summed up and expressed quite simply in just 4 lines. This is the essence of 84,000 Dharma teachings. It is an exceptionally wise and insightful summary that combines both practice and theory in its approach. Therefore, everyone must truly and firmly remember this deep within your hearts. Next is the conclusion, which is the dedication of merit, as well as the final words composed at the end. By this virtue, may all beings transcend the deep abyss of samsara. May all devoted disciples rejoice and be reborn in the Western Pure Land of ultimate bliss. The virtue accumulated above is dedicated to all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky. May they transcend the vast and terrifying abyss of the 3 realms and the 6 endless paths of samsara. At the same time, when such essential instructions gathering the wisdom of all 84,000 Dharma teachings, when such a hidden, mysterious secret appears in the world, let all those who have faith in the Dharma King and Buddhism come together. The disciples should, in their hearts, give rise to a sense of joy. Among the vast and boundless sea of people, we have encountered precious instructions as the wish-fulfilling jewel. This is also our good fortune, and we should feel a sense of joy. I don't know if those present here feel joy in their hearts. If you do feel joy, it shows that you have developed faith in the Dharma. If you feel no joy at all, then as for the Song of Victory, the 2 teaching days are over. Once finished, that's it. In a moment, when I go back, what should I actually eat, I wonder? I've been thinking all along, class is about to end. Today is really a happy day. But this sense of joy and happiness hasn't really been applied to gaining the Dharma. Instead, it's actually been used for other things, for other purposes. The get out of class is about to end. I'm finishing. Don't explain in detail. After a long day, I'm really looking forward to finally being able to go home, have something good to eat, and then may all sentient beings who have formed a connection attain rebirth in the pure land of ultimate bliss, attain supreme happiness, and in the future benefit countless sentient beings. The 17th victorious cycle, the Bingzi year according to the Tibetan calendar, 60 years make up one cycle. It started in 1027 AD, and now we're in the 17th victorious cycle. In the Christian era year, it is 1996. On September 21, 1996, wish-fulfilling jewel wrote Song of the Path to Victory. We master and disciples dispelled all outer, inner, and secret obstacles. I explained specific circumstance. At that time, His Holiness had just recently returned to the Institute and had dispelled all obstacles, both internal and external. All the students also gathered together joyfully. Our institute also specially held a Vajra Celebration Dharma Assembly. We reenacted the process of His Holiness's illness at that time. Goktumba and Miphan Rinpoche were featured, who graciously came and offered their heartfelt blessing songs to His Holiness. All of these were performed at the time as well. Last year, I think I even saw a video recording of it, actually, but it was quite blurry since it's actually been many years now. It was in 1996, so it's already been more than 10 years. Awang Loju Zongme is the Dharma name of our revered teacher. On the auspicious day celebrating the victory among nearly 5,000 monastics, at that time, our institute was not as large as it is now. There were close to 5,000 people in attendance, perhaps just over 4,000. Among those 5,000 people, they spontaneously sang, "Excellent, excellent, excellent," and that concluded the talk.
Bandangara Padmasada Bandangara Padmasada